history. It was a magnificent occasion. It was extraordinarily coincidental that it was the one I was at.
Well, at the time, Phil Taylor and James Wade were the two best players in world darts. James Wade won lots of majors by that time. Phil Taylor, of course, 16-time world champion. Taylor was the man in form. Wade was a man in form as well.
Felt good. I didn't feel nervous, and then James felt good as well. And obviously, then once you see him practicing on the practice board and you see him hitting the 140s and 180s, then you know you're in for a good scrap. Then
There's this noise, this extraordinary gladiatorial. It's just you cannot describe it.
The final itself was just incredible because the actual league had been done and dusted a bit soon. There was players in there that were getting railroaded week in, week out. So James Wade was obviously one of the favourites, as was Phil Taylor. I said to the missus, I've got to go and watch this. It's going to be a brilliant game, and the youth final as well. I thought this is going to be special. So as the game starts off, it's just a game. There's nothing special happening. Just two world-class players going at it.
When giants collide, the expressions irresistible force and immovable objects come to mind. If Phil Taylor is to be contained, then this man, James Wade, will have to accentuate the positive, because Taylor has been at his most omnipotent.
Day one and start to superlaves on the bench.
I was talking to Ron Harrington just before we went on, and I did say to him, and I know a few members, I said there could be a couple of 9-darters here tonight, because James was playing brilliant and I was playing brilliant, and hand on heart I thought I'd hit one and I thought James had hit one as well. And that was going through my mind, and Rod said, do you think so? I said, honestly, I think there's going to be two 9-darters.
He walked past me and he always gives you a little punch on the shoulder. Right, buddy. He said, I feel so good, I'm going to do a 9-darter. And he come out, that was after the first commercial break. In the next, I think the next leg of the second leg after that second session, he had his first 9-darter, and I stood there and thought, I don't believe it.
147 shot then for a 9-dart finish from Philip Taylor. Hold your breath. Treble 17. Double 18 for a moment of history.
I wasn't feeling excited, I was more concentrated on winning the legs. That's all that's going through your mind. That's when the best games come, when both players are at the best.
We're thinking, great, brilliant. He'll storm away, James Wade, not that he ever folds, but you're thinking he's going to not be able to contain the beast that is Phil Taylor. James will not go away. Then Phil Taylor hits another 9-darter.
Did a 9-darter in leg 2. We'd have it won the first leg. He's after it again.
But he got to be able to get this one.
Again! He's done it again! He did it in leg 2!
Well, whoever thought I was going to say this, but watch James Wade. Encore once in, it's your turn to possibly come second for the first time in darting history.
They're both coming down in 9-darter style. First pop, treble 90, double 12!
To be present at a final which has two 9-darters is simply unimaginable.
You are present in a moment of the greatest sporting history, certainly in dart.
Phil Taylor, in all his pomp and majesty, just show how great he still was, and doing that famous sort of gesture to show, which he does. There's only one Phil Taylor. That's it. Walking in a Taylor Wonderland and all that.
And I remember James looking out to his family and friends over on his right-hand side and thinking, this is mad. He still believes he's going to win. Then Phil Taylor somehow conjures up a chance at another 9-darter. This would have been 3 in a match. 2 was unheard of. 3 is just damn right ridiculous. But that is Phil Taylor for you.
He's only just got the lead in the throne. He's done 2 9-darters.
Just shows you how good the other bloke is. James Wade, the only man to beat Taylor in all the years the league's been on since 05. He's the only man who's ever won 2 games in the Premier League, and he's thinking about it again.
Yes.
He won 3 9-darters in the same game.
Wow. You just really can't keep going like this. Surely we're going to explode.
Well, some people say we use hyperbole. We don't. We use lifebuoy. What a man. He's going for the 9-darter again. He's on it again. Hardest shot in the world. The understacker. He gets it again. It's on it again. This is... He's done it! He's done it! He's on for the 3rd 9-darter in the match! The crowd are going bananas!
And there has never, ever, ever been a night in darting history, and possibly not in sporting history, where we've seen this. 147. He's done it once, Sid. You caught it, mate.
It's for his 3rd 9-darter. On it. Treble. Missed the treble. 70. And he is as sick as a chip in a McCain's factory. You are seeing something that me and Dave Lanning are drooling about.
Well, this is a wonderful occasion, and this is a great play because they responded to that. And the spirit of this night will be something that will live with all of us.
131.
It was an incredible display from Phil Taylor, and I remember feeling actually a vibe from Sid, which was pride in Phil Taylor, because he did take pride in him, because he'd been one of the earliest vocal champions of how great this player was.
People say he always loved Phil Taylor. I think they thought he was one of Phil's cheerleaders and his #1 fan. It was far more complicated than that. My dad just realised very early on that here was a guy who was doing remarkable things and was going to carry on doing remarkable things.
Taylor. He's dominated the game like Anthony. Cleopatra said he bestrideth the world like a colossus. The greatest player ever that ever will be. In no other sport can you say that. The greatest that there will ever be.
I was disappointed I missed the 3rd one though. I thought I was going to get that, but I didn't. But it was one of them games where you were doing the shots and doing the finishes and doing the 9-darters, but you didn't think about it. You didn't have time. Because you go game shot and the leg, Phil Taylor, get ready, James to throw first, game on.
Double time, so important, so critical.
James Charles in the 17th play. James Waddell in history. 2 9-darters, and he still can't get the oldest shot right. 18th play, James to throw first.
James played brilliant. I mean, that was something like, I think the final was something like 10-8. You know, there was only 2 legs in it, and they were the 2 9-darters.
Although Taylor was playing literally perfect darts, he played 16 perfect darts in a row, he didn't blow Wade apart. And Wade is a strong, steely man, you know, inside. And you could see that he was not, it actually upped his game. A lot of players, it would just blow them apart. They would just simply melt into oblivion and start throwing double 2s, and it would be embarrassing, you know. But no, absolutely not. He was playing fantastic darts that would have beaten anybody else on any other occasion.
4 for match and £125,000. 28, double, 14, 4, the title. Now Sid, which way will he go?
Barrel! Brilliant! Air shot! You're just in! The best
I spoke to James after and he said, I've lost 10-8, but it took 2 9-darters to beat me. His philosophy was, he's been beaten by a 9-darter and then another. And that is the kind of mindset of a champion, really.
Disappointment, but you must be amazed to be involved in such an incredible game as that.
Oh yeah, 2 9-darters to beat me. No. Yeah, it was a great game to be involved in. As every perfectionist though, you know, I I wanted to do a little bit more in patches, but Phil played amazing there, so he can't do much more than what I did. I mean,
And you did as well. I mean, you could have beaten him.
could have, should have, maybes, buts, ifs, shoulds, coulds, maybes. But I know Phil did something special there, and he had to do something special to beat me. So that's a compliment to myself.
It's a huge testament to him, and I remember, in the interviews afterwards, him saying that it was actually a kind of honour to play in a match where such great darts was played, and I think it makes up to some extent for not winning the actual trophy, but getting the runners-up check.
James, you did yourself proud. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together. A brilliant runner-up in James Wade.
It was a brilliant final. A man playing unbelievable darts, and he'd also had this fabulous experience commentating with this guy, Stephen Fry.
What a night to come here.
It couldn't be improved. That's probably the greatest sustained period of professional darts play in the history of the game. Since the first Greek ever picked up a dart, it's never been done better. And I mean, we were all in complete awe of Phil's extraordinary achievement to get 2 9-dart finishes in a final of a great tournament like this.
I remember talking to Sid Waddell about it afterwards, about what it was like to commentate with Stephen Fry. And every time you mentioned it, there was a big smile on his face. He knew something magical had happened that night. And it's something he until the day he died, he remembered and was very proud of, that he'd commentated with Stephen Fry, one of his heroes. And Stephen Fry, very proud that he'd commentated with one of his heroes as well in Sid.
Still, to this day, it really saddens me to think that he's no longer here. I mean, I've got videos at home, and you watch and you hear that voice, and you think can't believe it's stilled. And I'm so glad that the trophy is named after him, and he would be very, very proud.
My favourite line of my dad's, when it was a World Championship at Purfleet, one of the early WDC, PDC championships, and it's when Eric Bristow came back. He'd had a few lean years, problems with his dartitis, but it was a great story because he came back and he got to the semi-finals and he played Taylor, and he brought Taylor, he helped bring Taylor into the professional game. He sort of tutored him, and my dad would have a classical illusion about Merlin and wizards and things like this, but he gave him some financial help. So it was a huge game when he played him in that semi-final. He went all the way, and my dad was talking about how great it was to see a player from the past revitalised playing against a great from the present. And then he started talking about, what if there's a darts Valhalla? We'll all meet up in the sky sometimes, sipping mead, watching the great ghosts play. And it's a really nice image, and particularly after my dad's died, I just like to think of a darts Valhalla. There's Jockey Wilson playing Leighton Rees, and my dad's commentating. It's just a really comforting image, and at the time, it was a very striking image, very poetic, and also, like a lot of my dad's comments, faintly absurd.
Valhalla is in Wagner. I happen to be passionate about Wagner as well as darts. And Sid Waddell, there is no other sport which has an equivalent of Sid Waddell that can connect Wagner to that sport. And it's such an obvious truth, it's a dread cliche, is that he was the voice of darts. What's fascinating is I don't think in any sport, let alone darts, there will ever be a voice of again. I think we passed a sort of golden age where a particular figure, Harry Carpenter with boxing, Dan Maskell with tennis, Brian Johnson with cricket on the radio, or Richie Beno with cricket on television, became the voice of their sport. Very often they were primarily journalists. Sid Waddell, this guy from the pits, was Cambridge graduate. It's just, you couldn't make it up.
A little bit of pre-game prep.